You can't just come out and say something like that versus a champion. No one knows what it takes unless you've done it. You can't sit here and judge and talk about a team winning a championship unless you've done it. Evans hasn't done it. So, Stephen A., here's the question. Are you surprised by how seriously LeBron took these comments?
Not at all, because when you're a champion, you understand the work and the commitment that you put forth in order to achieve and acquire such a goal. And when somebody who hasn't gotten to that level of success wants to sit there and run their mouth and talk, you've got to check them. Now, I know Reggie Evans. He's a great guy. I like him a lot. But that wasn't a smart thing for him to say, because clearly there's a difference. There's a huge, huge ocean-wide discrepancy in talent between Reggie Evans, the basketball player, and LeBron James, the basketball player. But then when you add to that all that LeBron went through, some of it self-inflicted, some of it what we put on his shoulders, and he overcame so much and ultimately captured a championship. For somebody who's never won one to diminish that is definitely alarming, and you're supposed to treat that seriously. You're not supposed to dismiss that. Obviously, we're not comparing a LeBron or a Michael Jordan or a Kobe or anybody like that. Kobe would have shrugged it off visually, but he would have addressed it with the same fervor on the court. MJ would have been an assassin and would have annihilated him on the court for saying such a thing. I mean, MJ went after Jeff Van Gundy for teasing him and mocking him and things of that nature when Van Gundy was coach of the New York Knicks. So I understand LeBron addressing it with that seriousness. I was at the game last night. They didn't beat the Brooklyn Nets. They beat them down. They embarrassed them. And LeBron James literally was toying with them throughout the night. That's what happens when you sit there and you run your mouth against somebody as elite as him. You had better be elite so you can somewhat back it up. And clearly, I like Reggie Evans. He belongs in the NBA. He's rough and rugged, tenacious rebounder and defender, but he's not in LeBron's class. You can't talk about LeBron like that unless you're in that same class.
First of all, Stephen A., allow me to say the Brooklyn Nets are way overrated. They didn't going into the game belong on the same floor with the Heat, and they still obviously don't after last night. And that's not just once this year.
I wasn't aware they were rated, but that's okay.
Whatever. You've told me before you have some respect for them. You thought they were rivaling the Knicks.
I have respect for them, but not on that level.
Okay.
Not on that level is what I'm saying. Yeah.
I was surprised how deep a nerve that Reggie Evans hit in LeBron James. Listen, this stung LeBron. To dismiss them as lockout season champions, just discount what they did, it really got LeBron, because he was really into that game. And Stephen A., he was pouring it on, and he'd go back down the floor, making faces, mugging for the crowd. He was way into this game against a clearly inferior team because Reggie Evans got under his skin. Now, you brought up Michael Jordan. You and I both know Michael made a career out of perceived slights. He would exaggerate a slight or even fabricate a slight just to motivate himself. He said that, but that was Michael Jordan. And I'm not saying that this was authentic. This really got to LeBron. He wasn't exaggerating his emotion toward Reggie Evans. He called him out after the game. He used his name in the postgame comments, took a shot back at him and said, "Take that." And man, this got to, aren't you surprised how deeply it stung him?
No, not at all, because anytime, particularly in a lockout shortened season, I remember when the Spurs won it in a lockout shortened season, and you had some people that would try to be dismissive of it. They're like this, look, whether it's 65 games, whether it's 50 games, we had to play those regular season games. Then we had to go through the playoffs and through the finals in order to win this. So you're going to take that seriously. That's number one. Number two, if you went through what LeBron James went through en route to capturing that title, think about the immense heat we put on him. Now, granted, the chosen one, King James, all of that stuff, it's self-inflicted. But we piled it on. We put some pressure on that boy. I'm guilty of that too. And that man owned up to it. He answered the challenge. He didn't just win a ring on the back of Dwayne Wade. He won a ring too. He was the MVP.
He was the MVP.
He was absolutely phenomenal. He was absolutely phenomenal. So when you go through all of that stuff and you know it's earned, for somebody to make a comment like that implies that it wasn't earned,
It was
that
cheap.
the title's
Yeah.
fraudulent
Yeah.
and it's cheapened.
Yeah.
And no, nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. You're supposed to address it with the level of seriousness
Yeah.
that LeBron James addressed it, because he knows what he put in order to finally get over that hump and capture that ring. And he'll be damned if anybody's going to come along and try to diminish it.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him.
Well,
I would have done the same thing.
Allow me to say, as a longtime LeBron critic, I don't discount what he pulled off last year 1 ounce. I don't care how many games they played, they won. They crushed Oklahoma City in those 4 straight games. So God bless.